Okay, well, I think we will get going just for the sake of time, and I appreciate everyone who did join us today. Um, I am Randy Torres, the competition committee chair, the National Competition Committee chair, and we are hosting um, just a little Q&A about the competition series coming up as we prepare for our qualifier that will lead into our national competition for this year's national convention. And we've, of course, changed some things over the years. The last 2 years, the competition has just been an open call. You signed up, you went directly to national. And now we are going not necessarily backwards because we've changed things, but for any of you that have been in around ACF for a while, you remember the days of regional. Well, now we are doing a qualifier. So in order to get to national, you'll have to participate in this qualifying competition, and the best, call it the best cooks for those days, will move forward. We will be taking 4 from each category, and then we will have a military represented in a national convention. So this is just a kind of a brief little introduction to that. In case you guys have any questions about application process. Applications are due December 31st, and although I know that's a busy time for a lot of people in the industry, you know, we released this back in July as far as when it was that we were doing this. So my suggestion is get it done pretty quickly before December really hits, because I know everyone's gonna get busy, and we really don't want to deal with extensions. We hate to tell people no, but we may have to do that also if you don't get your applications in, or encourage someone to do it. That's the other piece of this, is really getting the word out. So I know we have a few different ACF staff members on. I don't know if you guys want to say anything, or we'll just get to questions. All right, well, do we have any questions for those that are all on the call?
Chef, this is Chris Brewer, AB Tech.
Yes, sir. Yes,
all right. A couple just in general questions. Do you have the dates of which competitions are on which days? Because we're trying to get things worked out with the college, and we're bringing a student chef, a student pastry chef, and our team.
We're talking about on the days of the qualifier.
Yes, it has like a 3-day thing, but I didn't know if you knew which days were happening yet.
You know, Chef, I'm working on that. I wish I had a better answer. I was kind of waiting to see how the applications filled up. But if I had to guess, I would say the student teams would probably go first. I like being usually they're a big chunk and they take a lot. I usually do student teams, and then we'll work into student chefs and student categories and finish off with chef categories. But please don't hold me to that. Again, I was waiting to see how many we have based on the amount of space that we have at the school. So I'm still kind of putting that together. So I don't want to release anything, nothing set in stone for me for that yet. I do apologize. But I would tell you that if you do have multiple categories, you might need to spend multiple days there. Obviously, if you only have like a student team, the hope was if you went off on the Friday, you can get done and be out of there. But if you do have multiples, you will probably have multiple days of being there. Hopefully that's helpful.
Good morning, Chef Randy.
Good morning.
Hardeep this side.
Okay, great. Welcome.
How are you, Chef?
I'm doing great.
Okay, so actually I have a couple of questions, which is like, so I will start with from the beginning, like culinary skills salon. So as to potato, we are supposed to bring our own ingredient, or like potato, onion, and tomato, right?
Yes,
So,
you supply all of your own ingredients.
And is there any particular type, or I can bring in any kind of potato?
You could probably bring in any type that will work for you. I mean, you want to think about what the application would be, but I'm sure any potato that you see fit. Now, again, if you're working on a classical cut, you know, you're gonna have to need a potato that's going to give you that proper size. So some of our smaller little potatoes, you might make little tiny tournées So be careful.
Okay.
Make sure you pick the right potato that will fit everything.
Oh, or maybe you can have them mix kind of type, like for the paisan cut, some have some russet potato, which will give some sort of 3 ounce of paisan cut, and different for the tournay, right?
Possible.
Okay. So there is no restriction to which whatever potato type can be bring in, right?
I don't believe so. I'm pulling up the guidelines now, but I don't believe so. No, it just says potato, so you're open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't say any particular kind.
Yeah. But the other thought process could be is the amount of waste that you'll have throughout the time. So the as this is written, you have 3 potato cuts. Either potentially you can get multiples out of 1 potato, so you might want to consider waste factors. So kind of keep that in mind.
Okay, perfect. I got you. Yes. And second comes to chicken fabrication. So yes, we'll bring our own chicken. And so when it says that, so I mean, the second part, which is contemporary hot cooking, we will be doing just after finishing the first exercise, which is culinary skill salon, or it would be on the next day, and we'll be able to use the same chicken.
Yes. It would probably be on the same day. Again, this is all brand new and we're putting the schedule together, but it'll probably be on the same day. But yes, you'll be able to take the skills and use them in your cooking.
Okay. Okay, or it might be little break between first exercise and the second, and then we'll ready for the second part, right?
Yeah, something like that. There could potentially be a break. It might not be too long though, but again, we're working on the schedule.
Okay, and what that it mean, like proper handling of carcass and remaining protein? If you just please can briefly explain on this.
So that's an interpretation of what you feel as a chef that how you properly prepare it. So it could be storage. It could be, what do you do with those bones to make sure that they're ready for the next stage of cooking, if it's stock making or anything like that. So without giving too much away, it's you're handling them in a professional manner.
Okay, if I am storing, then it should be a proper way of storage, right? Or if I'm immediately going to use it as a stock, then I can present that way, right?
Sure.
Okay. Uh, yes, so far, I guess these were my concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chef.
Do we have some other questions out there?
Yeah, since we're doing for the student individual, since it's just one person cooking, can we
Yes.
utilize a half speed rack instead of a full speed rack?
I'm gonna have to bring that to the committee, Chef. They got away from half speed racks a while back in competitions because it was more about the extra table space people were creating with it. I don't want to be the sole person that says yes or no. So I'll bring that to the committee, or at that point the lead judge. From what I know about where we're going down at JCC, there's ample space. So I don't see it being a problem. Whether or not you'll be able to use it for a tabletop though will be the question. So, but I'd like to get the lead judges, when I appoint the lead judge and the committee to have that discussion, because that's why those got rid of a while back, because people were basically using them as tabletops. I know I was one of them.
Us too. All right, so for the student pastry, is there a size for the pre-constructed cake?
Let me take a look. Let me pull that up. I'm not sure if it didn't. If it didn't say, then I would say no if it didn't say. But that will be a good question to ask. No, it's not saying an exact size. It just says pipe 3 rows, 3 roses.
So I would take it with that too. It doesn't matter how many layers or the flavor.
I don't believe so. I think I want to say this is just it's cake decorating, but they just want to see the piping. So I think that I'll have to ask that question to Chef Darren and Chef Frank. I'll bring that to them and we'll get you an answer on that, Chef.
Okay, and with the happy birthday, does that have to be in buttercream or it can be in chocolate?
Again, it's open, I'm assuming, but I will ask that question because it doesn't have anything. I think it's open. Sorry for not having that. I didn't realize the wording on that.
Yeah, this is a totally new one. So there's,
it's definitely brand new for us too.
And then the happy birthday, does that have to be in English?
That's a good question. I'd have to say that I'm going to say yes, just for the sake of
Everybody understand.
Everybody being able to understand, and we can know proper spelling. So I'm going to say yes to keep it in English. Great question, Chef. Thank you for that.
All right, and then I have one more about the team. Before we could bring in the pre-made sponge, is that still a thing, or does that need to be made in competition now?
I believe it needs to be made in competition for this one. All right. Any other questions right now? Everyone sure? We have a nice group of people on.
Chef?
Yes.
This is Heidi. There's a question in your chat.
Yeah, okay, I just saw that for the students. How for students, teams, how can the apprentice be involved in the cookery, for example? Can they be involved? Yeah, for the student teams, we changed that. There's no longer an apprentice or a helper. You have 5 team members, and all 5 participate in how you feel fit for them to work. So again, it used to be where that 5th member was just a organizer and whatnot. So they can do whatever you want them to do. So just keep in mind that's how it is now. So hopefully that answered it.
I have another question about the team, which may include others. With the new rule about the separation of eggs in the competition phase, so does that include everything? So let's say you had a meringue just for using egg whites. Do you still need to show that separation and then proper storage for the yolks, or is that just for separation of eggs and whole?
So Chef, ask that question again. I got a little lost. So you're saying the rule, what do the rules state now?
The new rule says egg separation must be shown during the competition.
Right.
So is that, all inclusive of every type of egg used, or if you're using just the whole egg, I guess would be the simple way of saying it.
I know that the chefs have wanted to see that. So I'm going to say that the interpretation is if you need egg whites, you're going to have to separate them. All right, other questions? Hopefully Taylor Washington, I answered your question clearly about the 5th person on the team.
Chef, this is Heidi again.
Yes, Heidi.
How are you? See you
Good,
next
how are you?
week.
Yes.
Good. Will the teams and the competitors know their standings? Are you awarding medals on site at the end of every competition?
That is the hope. At the hope
Okay.
of every at the end of each day, and when it's concluded. Now I'm hoping. Well, here's the thing. This could be a good problem to have if we have an abundance of people in a category, and we have to, for instance, spread call it student chef out into 2 days. We would announce on the second day the winner, well, the award / who will be being picked to go to national. But by the end of the weekend, the hope is that everyone knows that they're going to national.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you. Does everybody understand the application process? So if you haven't done the application, or if you have participated in the past, it might be a hair different. We are asking for a few more pieces of documentation, if you will, your resume. We ask for some pictures in case we have an overabundance, which would be great, and the qualifier can't hold it all. Then we'd have to go through and cut some people based on that application process. Or if for some reason which would be a sad scale to be at, if for some reason we didn't get enough for the qualifier to actually hold the event, we will be picking people by the application process. Okay, I'm hoping we don't get to that. But what we're not going to do this year, everyone, is we're not just going to cancel the event and move everyone to national. That is not the goal. Or the intention, and the facility at national, and it's not just the facility, but we're not prepared for that. We don't want to have a that big of show. It just ends up being a little too much, and so we want to have the best of the best. So please get your applications in, get them complete. We don't, if there's potential, if you don't have everything that's asked for, that you might just be disqualified in that standpoint because you don't have everything. So please make sure you've read that. It breaks my heart to see when someone has some good work, but they're missing something, and we have to move forward past them because they're missing the things that are needed for the application. So please follow that process. Questions on any of that?
Yeah, I have one more question, Chef Hardeep.
Yes.
For this chicken fabrication, so the requirement is to each airline breast skin on and wing bone French. So, yes. But okay, after presenting this particular section, then in our recipe or the second part of cooking, can I alter the breast and use differently? Is that allowed?
Yes. After you've gone through the skills phase, you can do whatever you'd like to your proteins.
Okay.
Chop them up,
Perfect.
or take the wing off, whatever you'd like.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, other questions? I don't want to keep dragging this on if we don't really have questions. Is Jade or Riley on? I know we have staff. That's who it is? Is there anything that we need from that end, or Heidi, is there anything we need from that office end to let everyone know by?
Is Jade on?
I see ACF staff, and then I see American Culinary Federation.
Yeah, I don't know who they are. Anyway, Chef, applications, to your point, are really important, everybody. I know Chef Torres and the staff are here to help and guide and assist. So if you have any questions, please reach out to Jade. There's an events email which will be answered promptly, or Chef Torres. We'd really like to see you compete this year and have the opportunity to do so.
And after the first of the year, and we get all of the applications in and confirmed, there will be follow-up calls like this, similar to how we did for nationals. So there'll be, as you guys start at that point, you should be into full development of your programs, and we could ask some more direct questions and or even get some of these other questions clarified, which were great questions, and it helps us. In competition, we assume certain things, and then someone comes up with something, and we're like, oh well, we shouldn't have assumed it to be that, because it's not as clear. And it looks, the questions that were brought up today were good questions and will help us clarify some things. So be prepared for that. But again, please get your applications in. We don't want to do this game where, you know, it's we understand, we get it, I get it. You know, 31st is coming up, and it's Christmas time, and it's a busy time. I understand that, but I also know that as chefs, we all know how to meet deadlines, and we know how to get things done. So the expectations is you get this done. So please, let's not have any problems with that.
And Chef Torres, I'd also like to add, if those of you on the call know of anybody else that is interested in competing, please share this information with them. I know there was a vice president's call last night, which Chef Torres attended. I know it's been in the Culinary Insider, but you know, sometimes word of mouth is great to promote competitions. I know Chef Torres and Chef Chris have been longtime supporters of competitions. They're well run. And I know this, as Chef Torres mentioned, the regional and the qualifier are a bit different for us this year, but we'd love to have a lot of participants in that program and moving forward to convention.
Yes, thank you, Heidi. Yes, and I you know, and the word of mouth thing, I can't say enough about that. And really, if I'm not sure, you know, how many mentors or coaches or just chefs here. I mean, get somebody else involved, push someone to do this. The competition, to me, is a great way of learning. And you know, to Heidi's point of, you know, Chef Chris here being involved for a long time, and always bringing someone to the convention, and that's so awesome. So we want to continue to see that. But everyone else, if you're new to this, welcome, and we're here to help you get through it. And it is a process, so just follow the process. But we're here to help in any way we can. But we can't help you unless you reach out, and we'll be looking forward to hearing from you. If there's any further questions, if not, we'll get to the end of this. Any other questions before I end this? Okay, so we'll be looking forward to seeing you guys all after the first of the year. Again, applications are due for each of the categories by the 31st. Everything is on the ACF website. If you have any questions, I will be happy to help you guys the best I can. I cannot do any, I'll give you advice on food, but I will not do any really coaching, because I will be involved in the judging process. But after the first of the year, we will have, again, follow-up calls to talk about the individual categories. So we'll have a call for each of the categories, and you'll be notified who the lead judge is and all of that good stuff. So okay, well, I'm going to say we're done here.
Good luck to Team USA. We'll see you there. I'm going to be there that Monday. So
great, Chef. We look forward to seeing you. Please come by and say hello.
Definitely.
All right. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Chef.